Find it hard to believe that 99.999% of the atom is empty space. It is because of the extremely small size of nucleus and electrons in comparison to the overall size of the atom. And there is a very interesting fact. If we remove the empty space of the atom, the overall human population we can accommodate only within an atom. Myself, Tanmoy Datta, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, JS College of Engineering, welcome you all in my third lecture of atomic structure. Now, already we discussed about the Rutherford model and Bose model. And the previous class we discussed about the application of the Bose model. That means we determined the few parameters like energy of the electrons, like radius of the Bohr orbit, like spectral parameter regarding wavelength, regarding frequency, regarding wave number, and also we discussed about the Sommerfeld model. And there was some drawbacks of the Sommerfeld model. And today we'll discuss about the Zeeman effect, Stark effect, and significances of quantum number. We'll discuss about the de Broglie theory. So students, without further delay, let's come to my class. Students, we have already discussed about the Rutherford model. We have already discussed that how Niels Bohr solved the problems of the Rutherford model. And then there are some problems of the Bose model also. And then Sommerfeld came to the field, and Sommerfeld beautifully explained the each and every drawbacks. Then Sommerfeld nicely explained the drawbacks of the Bose model. And then Sommerfeld introduced a new quantum number. The name of the quantum number was azimuthal quantum number. That means till now what we discussed, we have two quantum number. The first quantum number which we got from the Bose model, that was the principal quantum number, and the second was the azimuthal quantum number. Okay, so that means we discussed already that two factors. That first factor, that why light spectrum are generated, that was not explained by the Rutherford model, but that was successfully explained by the Bose model. And to explain the light spectrum, Niels Bohr introduced that the existence of the orbit. But Niels Bohr again, he was unable to explain the further splitting of the light spectrum. That means the fine structure. But Sommerfeld beautifully explained by introducing a new quantum number and also the existence of subcell. Okay. But then what happened? In presence of magnetic field or in presence of electric field, the lines of the fine structure, again it was splitted by the single lines. But that was not explained by the Sommerfeld. And up to that point we have discussed. Now we will move to the next topic, or how that limitation of the Sommerfeld model, or why that kind of further splitting happened in presence of electric field and the magnetic field. So first of all, if we consider the magnetic field, there was a scientist, the name of the scientist was Zeeman, and Zeeman first observed that fact, that in presence of the magnetic field, each and every line of the fine structure again splitted into the small lines. And Zeeman, for that reason, the effect or that further splitting in presence of magnetic field, that effect was called the Zeeman effect. And according to Zeeman, he introduced a new quantum number that is called magnetic quantum number. That is called magnetic. Now think, that how Sommerfeld explained the splitting of the line spectrum. Sommerfeld introduced a concept of the subcell, that means sub energy level. In the same way, Zeeman also introduced, or Zeeman told that in the subcell there are some kinds of another sub energy level. And what is the name of the energy level? According to Zeeman, that was called orbital. That's why again further splitting occur. And by introducing a new quantum number m, Zeeman successfully explained that why each and every line splitted further. So according to Zeeman, for a particular value of L, what is the L? I already discussed with you. What is the L? L was the azimuthal quantum number which was introduced by the Sommerfeld. For a particular value of L, m will be minus L to plus L including 0. So for a particular value of L, m will be minus L to plus L including 0. Now what is the significance of that thing? The significance is that suppose that L is equal to 1, okay, then what will be the value of m? M will be minus 1, 0 and plus 1. Minus L to plus L including 0. So obviously that will be minus 1, 0 and plus 1. And I already told you that what is the significance of L equal to 1? That signify it is the P subcell. I already told you in the previous class that L equal to 1 means it is the P subcell. Now if it is the P subcell, then obviously here in case of P, it is the P subcell. Then obviously P has the 3 orbitals. Okay, so P subcell has the 3 orbitals because there are 3 values of m. So for one subcell, that line will be split into the 3 lines, and we know that means P subcell has the 3 orbitals, Px, Py and Pz. So the m values exactly it represent, the m values represent that if there are 3 values, minus 1, 0 and the plus 1, that means the P subcell has the 3 orbitals, Px, Py, Pz. So it is expected that one P line of the fine structure that will be split into the 3 lines. I will give you another example also. If L is equal to 2, then m will be, how many values will be for m? M will be minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1 and plus 2. So look here, for a particular value of L, there are 5 values of the m. That means for one line corresponding to L equal to 2, that will be split into the 5 lines. Now what is the L equal to 2? I already discussed in the previous class. That means it is the D subcell. Okay, so it is a D subcell. So all of you will know very well that D subcell has the 5 orbitals. You know that are the dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square y square and dz square. Okay, so by that way, Zeeman successfully explained why each and every line that are split it into several lines, and that is called Zeeman effect. So you can keep in mind in that way that Zeeman aim for magnetic moment, because there is also another effect that is called Stark effect, and in the exam time, you know, that become very much confusing, that which is the Stark effect and which is the Zeeman effect. So that is the simple way you can keep in mind that Zeeman aim for magnetic moment. I will give you another tricks for Stark also, that how you can keep in mind the Stark effect. Okay, so that means from Zeeman effect we got another quantum number and that is called magnetic quantum number. But there was also another effect that was also not explained by the Sommerfeld model. What is the effect? The effect is that in presence of electric field also, each and every line of the fine structure that are split into several lines. So that means here, from here, another scientist came to the field, and what is the name of the scientist? The name of the scientist is that Stark. Okay, so it is called actually Stark effect. So it is called Stark effect. Okay, so Stark is very much related to the electric field. So I can give you one tricks to keep in mind that effect. All of you very much fond of the Iron Man. Do you know what is the not original, what is the name in the film of that Iron Man? That is the Tony Stark. Okay, so Tony Stark, there are some kinds of effects also there in the movie, like electric field related to that things. So you can keep in mind in that way that Stark effect related to the electric field, and Zeeman aim for magnetic moment. This is the only the tricks, nothing but that. Okay, so Stark effect is very much related to the electric field, and Stark told that each and every electron, each and every electron, it can rotate its own axis. That means the electrons are also spinning. Okay, so if the electrons are also spinning, it can create the electric field, it can create the magnetic field also. Okay, so when that electrons are spinning, then there are two types of possibilities are there. First one is the clockwise, and second one is the anti-clockwise, and depending on that, there are two values of the new quantum number, that is called spin quantum number. So there is a new quantum number that is called spin quantum number, which is introduced by the Stark, and the spin quantum number has the two values, either it will be minus half or it will be plus half. Okay, so but minus and plus, what is the meaning of the minus and plus? Minus and plus actually denote the direction, in which direction it is spinning. Actually it may be clockwise or maybe anti-clockwise, so one direction is just opposite that of other direction. So that's why if one direction of rotation, if we take the plus value, another direction will be, obviously it will be the minus value. So that's why there are two values of the spin quantum number, A is equal to either plus half or minus half. Okay, but one thing is that which field is created by the positive direction, exactly opposite field will be created by the anti-clockwise direction, so that will be cancelled out with the another direction. So that is very important thing if you have to keep in mind. So if we denote that direction in that way, another direction will indicate by that way. So that's why that two electron we can put in a particular orbital. I will give you one example where we will use that kind of sign actually. But the meaning of the sign is that if one electron is spinning in clockwise direction, that sign indicate another electron spinning another direction. It may be clockwise or anti-clockwise, but opposite direction. It's opposite direction. So that sign will also use when in the time of electronic configuration. What is the usefulness of that two sign, that two direction? That is very, very important. I will show you the examples. So till now we have the three quantum numbers before the Stark effect. That was the N, that was the L, and that was the M. So what is the beautiful side of the Stark effect? Look here, if N has a particular value like 1 and L has the value 0, M will be also 0, and then S will be, for each and every case, S will be two values, either plus half or minus half. That means for each and every orbital, there are two values, one will be plus half, another will be minus half. How it is possible? Look here, if we draw the orbital like that, it is the in case of S. Look here. So in case of S, look here, plus half and minus half. What is the meaning of plus half and minus half? I think you observed in the electronic configuration that will be like that. So one electron or one orbital can carry the two electrons. That is the significance of plus half and minus half sign. So that's why we are getting the 2 electrons at a time, and they are 2 different directions. One direction or one field which is created by the one due to rotation of one direction, that will be exactly cancelled by the another direction. So then if we take the another example, like n equals to, if n equals to 2, then l equals to 1, and here the m equal to, there will be 3 values, -1, 0 and +1. Okay, so there are 3 values. If there are 3 values, then just draw here, just if we draw here, look here, -1, 0, +1, then what happened? For each and every case, according to the s value, here will be plus up and minus up, plus up and minus up, and plus up and minus up. Okay, so now each and every case, what will get? Each and every case will get the 3 electrons, 3, and then again 3, it will be the total 6 electrons. So each and every orbital has the 2 electrons, 2 in opposite direction. So that means from here we can consider that for p orbital, maximum carrying capacity of the p orbitals, it will be 6 electrons. Maximum carrying capacity of the p orbital, that will be the 6 electron. Okay, now if you consider the, in the case of d, like in the case of d, l is equal to what will the value? L is equal to 2, l is equal to 2, and m is equal to -2, -1, 0, +1 and +2. But each and every case, if you think about each and every case, each and every value that are corresponding to the each and every orbital. Okay, so that means there are 5 orbitals, and each and every case, there are 2 values, plus up, minus up, plus up, minus up, plus up, minus up. Okay, so now look here. So that means total number of electrons here, it will be, total number of electrons will be here 10. So d orbital, it is the d orbital has the 10 total electron carrying capacity. D orbital has the d subshell has the total, one orbital maximum electron carrying capacity, that will be 2, and one subshell, d subshell, here maximum electron carrying capacity will be 10. So by that way we can explain that the each and every property, each and every spectral character, each and every number of electron carrying capacity, etc., from that point of view. Okay, so till now we have the 4 quantum numbers. So we already explained about the 4. Okay, now we'll discuss about the significances of quantum number. That means there are so many quantum numbers, 4 quantum numbers, that n, l, m and s. That means n principal quantum number, l azimuthal quantam number, m magnetic quantum number, and s spin quantum number. Okay, so with the help of that 4 quantum numbers, we can discuss so many things, like starting from the cell, subcell, orbitals, number of electrons, electronic configuration, etc., etc., all that things. Okay, so we will discuss here one by one. So in first case, that means when n equal to 1, then what happen? If n equal to 1 here, then what is the cell? The cell is the K, it is the first cell. Okay, so then what happened? If it is the first cell, or the first, you can take it as the orbit also, then in that case l equal to 0. I told you that l is equal to 0 to n minus 1, that means 1 minus 1, 0, so 0. If l equal to 0, m is equal to obviously 0, because m is equal to minus l to plus l. Here l is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Here minus l to plus l including 0. Okay, so it will be 0, and s equal to, look here, in each and every case, that means for each and every value of m, s will have the 2 values, plus up and minus up. Okay, and for each and every case there will be 1 electron. And the subcell or the orbitals, actually, so the orbitals of the subcell will be, it is the 1s, actually, it's subcell and orbital that are same. Okay, so it will be 1s. And for electron, if it is the 1s, the maximum electron will be 2. Here it is the 2, the number will be 2, so it will be 2, and it will be the 1s 2. And total electron in the case of cell, it will be also 2. Okay, so now we'll move to second orbit, that is the L. So if we consider the second cell or the second orbit, then it will be the L, after K it will be the L, and obviously it will be the 2. So n equal to 2. So what will be the value of L? There will be two values. One will be 0, another will be 1, because in case of L, you know, n minus 0 to n minus 1, so it will be 0 and the 1. Then next will be, it will be the 0, no problem. It will be the 0. So if it is 0, then here will be two values, plus or minus or. But here it will be minus 1, 0 and the plus 1. Because for a particular value of 1, for a particular value of L, then it will be the values from the minus L to plus L. So minus 1 to plus 1, including 0. So then here each and every case, plus up and minus up, plus up, minus up, plus up and minus up. Now look here, it will be the 2. So if it is the n equal to 2, so here it will be 2s. You know, for 0 it will be the s. You know, I already discussed, for the value of L equal to 0 it will be the s, and for the value of L equal to 1 it will be the p, but it is under the 2. 2 is the quantum number, principal quantum number. So if it is a 2, obviously it will be the 2p. Now you know, for 2s here the maximum 2 electrons, so it is the 2 and we can write down 2s2. But here how many total electrons? It is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So here it will be 6 and it will be the 2p6. So total number of electrons here, total electrons 6 plus 2, that means it will be the 8. So in that way you have to calculate each and every step. Okay. So starting from the orbit, then subcell, then orbital, then total number of electrons. Okay. So now we'll move to the next orbit or next cell, that is the M. Okay. And in that case, what will be the value of n? In that case, the value of n will be, it is the m equal to, it is the 3. Okay. So first one for the k, that was the 1, for n that was the 2, and for m that was the 3. So if n equal to 3, what will be the value of L? The L will be, it is the 0, 1 and 2. Okay. Then m will be, for each and every case it is a 0, no problem about that. Minus 1, 0, plus 1, and minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1 and plus 2. Now like the previous case, if it is the spin quantum number, in each and every case it is the plus half, minus half, plus half and minus half. So each and every case we are getting plus half and minus half. Then if we consider the subcell, so here it will be the which subcell? Here it is a 3 principal quantum number, so it will be the 3s. It will be the 3s, and then for 1 it will be the p, so it will be the 3p. And if it is 2 means it will be the, if it is 2 means it will be the 3d. Okay, so 3s, 3p, 3d. So how we can establish that which one will be s, p and d? For s, p and d, I again repeat, for s, p and d, you have to first see that what is the azimuthal quantum number. If azimuthal quantum number is 0, then it will be s. For azimuthal quantum number 1, it will be p. For azimuthal quantum number 2, it will be the d. And how we will write down 3? 3 for it comes from the principal quantum number. If here it is the 3, then obviously it will be 3s, 3p and 3d. Now count the electron. For here it is like the previous case, that 3s, 2, no problem. For here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can write down 6 and then it is the 3p, 6. Now here count. It is the total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each and every case it will be the 2. So that means it is the total 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10. So that means maximum electron possible here 3d 10. So then total number of electrons here 10 plus 6 plus 2. So 10 plus 6 plus 2 means it will be the 18. So that means the M subshell or the M orbit has the maximum capability to carry the 18 electrons, and here each and every subshell has some capacity to carry the electrons, like in some cases 2, some cases 6, 10, etc, etc. Okay. Now for the N cell or N orbit. So in case of N orbit, it will be the first one 1, 2, 3, and then in this case it is the 4. So for N orbit, it will be the principal quantum number will be 4. So the azimuthal quantum number will be like the previous case 0, 1, 2, and the 3. So if 0, 1, 2, and 3, then each and every case it will be here for M is equal to 0, and here M is equal to -1, 0, +1, -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, and -3, -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, and +3. So here look here, the 7 values are there. Okay. So in case of 3, azimuthal quantum number 3, there are 7 values are coming. Okay, according to the rule. Then here A is equal to each and every case it will be +½ -½ Okay, so it will be +½ and the -½ Okay, so now we'll go to the what will be the subshell and the number of electrons. So in this case, you know, the first one will be the subshell will be, it is the number of in this case it will be the subshell will be 4s. Why 4s? Because here it is the principal quantum number 4. So obviously for 0 it will be 4s, then it will be the 4p, it will be the 4d, and for 3, for L is equal to 3, it will be the 4f. Okay, so if L is equal to 3, it will be the 4f. And now each and every case we have to consider the electrons also. So here it will be the 2, like plus of and minus of the 2 values, so it will be the 2, and it is the 4s2. Here it is the 6, like the previous case also, so it will be the 4p 6. Here it is the 10, like the previous case, so it will be the 4d 10. And here look here, it is the 14, the values will be 14, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, and each and every case there are 2 values. So 7 into 2 into 14. So it will be the 14. So 4f, it will be the 14. So now count the total number of electrons. Now count the total number of electrons, and it will be the 32. So total capability of carrying the electrons in case of the N cell, that is the 32, and for each and every case there is a specific number for the orbitals and also the subshell. Both the scientists like Niels Bohr and the Sommerfeld, both scientists considered that the electron has only particle nature. That means electrons are only negative charge particles. But after the establishment of but when the famous scientist Einstein established the fact that light has dual character like wave and particle, then French scientist de Broglie came to the field, and de Broglie told that the microscopic particles like electron also had the particle nature as well as the wave nature. That means, according to the de Broglie, that each and every microscopic particle associated with some wavelength or wave character, and that wave is called matter wave. So according to de Broglie, that the matter wave which is represented by lambda, that lambda equals to h by mv, or we can tell in that way that lambda or wavelength or matter wave, or it is also called de Broglie wavelength. So lambda proportional to, as you know, that h is the constant, Planck constant, and mv, that is the momentum. So we can write down lambda proportional to inversely proportional to momentum. So according to de Broglie theory, that the matter wave is very much related to the momentum, and it is inversely proportional to momentum. So de Broglie first established that fact that or told that the equation of the matter wave lambda can be expressed in that way, h by mv, where m is the mass of that particular microscopic particle and v is the velocity of that particular microscopic particle. So how de Broglie got that equation? So that means we have to know the derivation of the de Broglie equation. So how de Broglie established that fact? So you know, all of us we very much well known about that fact that E equals to mc square. That is very much well known to us. Again, we know E equals to h nu. So that is the famous equation of the Einstein, and that is the famous equation of the Planck. Okay. So if we combine that two equation, mainly that equation depends upon the particle nature and there is a wave nature. So if we combine that two equation, that equals to mc square equals to h nu, and we know that nu equals to c by lambda. We already discussed about that fact that nu is the frequency and c is the velocity of the light and lambda is the wavelength. So we can write down from here, we can write down that lambda is equal to h by mc. That is actually equation. Now c is the velocity of the light. If it is the any kind of particles which looks like the velocity of a light, then that equation will be applicable, like electromagnetic wave. So if in maximum cases that in electromagnetic wave they moves almost similar velocity with the velocity of the light. But if it is any another microscopic particle, then it will be lambda equals to h by mv, where v is the velocity of that microscopic particle. If v is the velocity of the microscopic particle, then lambda is equal to h by mv, and this equation mainly applicable for electromagnetic wave, and that equation or this equation is mainly applicable for matter wave. We will also discuss the difference, what are the differences between matter wave and the electromagnetic wave. But in that way or in that derivation, de Broglie established the equation of the matter wave. De Broglie also established the Bohr equation. That means what Niels Bohr told that the angular momentum mv are equal to nh by 2 pi. That equation also can be established by the de Broglie wavelength. How? Look here. According to de Broglie, that the circumference, that means if any electron revolves around the nucleus, for example the radius is the r, then obviously its integral multiple of the wavelength lambda, that will be equal to the circumference. Circumference means 2 pi r. So 2 pi r equals to n lambda. We can write down from that picture. I think all of you understand very well. So now just put here the expression. What is the expression of the lambda? Lambda equal to, already de Broglie told that lambda equals to h by mv. So if lambda equals to h by mv, then just put here 2 pi r equals to nh by mv. Okay, so 2 pi r equal to nh by mv, or we can write down mv r equals to nh by 2 pi, and you know that that equation established by Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr told that the angular momentum of the electron revolving in a particular orbit, that the radius will be r, that exactly equal to nh by 2 pi. So de Broglie equation also support the Bohr's theory. So as the de Broglie equation has the two wings, that means according to de Broglie, the microscopic particle also have the particle nature as well as the
wave nature, so obviously it is expected that de Broglie equation should support the Bohr's model, because Niels Bohr told that one dimension, that means only particle nature. Okay, there is another wings also wave nature that was not told by the Niels Bohr, but as Niels Bohr told one wings of the theory, so obviously it is expected that de Broglie equation support the Bohr's model, and that happened here. So finally what we get, actually again repeat, that the circumference, that means the lambda value, wavelength, the integral multiple of the lambda, that equals to the circumference value 2 pi r. R is the radius of the your Bohr orbit. Then from that equation we can establish m here equal to nh by 2 pi. Now we will differentiate between electromagnetic wave and the matter wave. Okay, so from the name it is very much clear, I think, that electromagnetic wave, that obviously related to the electric and magnetic field. So obviously it is related to the electric and magnetic field. But matter wave, it is not related to the any kind of electric or magnetic field. Second difference, it is the first difference. Second difference, in electromagnetic wave, here velocity more or less similar to the velocity of the light, like 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, more or less. Here the velocity more or less same, but the matter wave, its velocity is not fixed. Its velocity not fixed. Okay. So this is the another difference, that in case of matter wave velocity is not fixed, but in case of electromagnetic wave more or less here velocity fixed, and this is the 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Electromagnetic wave, that is represented by lambda equals to h by mc, and matter wave, that is related to the lambda equals to h by mv. So that three are the main differences between electromagnetic wave and the matter wave. Okay, so you have to keep in mind that points also, because this is also very much important for your exam purpose.
Students, now come to the assignment part. Okay, so the first question of the previous day assignment of the previous class, the first question was how Sommerfeld explained the fine structure of the atom. Actually, the fine structure of the atom indicated that the existence of sub-energy level in a particular atom. So Sommerfeld introduced a new quantum number that is called the azimuthal quantum number, that indicates the existence of subcell in a particular orbit. That means for a particular orbit K, there may be some subcells. For a particular orbit L, there may be some subcells. Okay, how we can determine the subcells? By the value of L. For a particular value of K, or for a particular value of principal quantum number, for a particular value of principal quantum number N, there may be so many values for the L. That means azimuthal quantum number. For example, if the value of the principal quantum number is 2, then the value of azimuthal quantum number will be 0 and 1. 0 means it is the S subcell and 1 means it is the P subcell. So for one orbit, there are 2 subcells. So it is expected that if the line spectrum or the lines are the indication of the energy level, so the line which is corresponding to the L orbit means if n equal to 2, obviously it is the L orbit. So the lines corresponding to the L orbit, it will be split into the 2 lines for S subcell and the P subcell. So in this way, Sommerfeld explained the existence of subcell, and that's why the line structure of the line spectrum will be again splitted in presence of high resolution power spectrophotometer as the fine structure. Come to the second question. If one electron jump from the third orbit to second orbit, the atomic spectra falls in which region? I discussed with you in the previous class that there is some range or the region of the hydrogen spectrum. For example, if any from any of the higher orbit greater than 1, if any electron jump from the first orbit, the series of the lines or the spectrum which is generated, it is under the Lyman series. In the same way, if any electron jump from the third to second, it is in the region of, or it is in the series of the Balmer. So this is the Balmer series. So the answer of the question will be Balmer series. If there's any confusion, you can check my previous class, then the concept will be clear to you. Come to the third question. What is the significance of the negative sign of the energy expression of an electron when we calculate it from Bohr's model? The negative sign indicated that the electron is more stable in the atom rather than outside of the atom. That means if you want to remove the electron from an atom, you have to apply the energy. Otherwise, it will not come out from the atom. So if you provide the energy, if we have to provide the energy, then it is taken as the negative sign. So that's why in the energy expression there is a negative sign. Like the energy of the hydrogen for the first Bohr orbit, it is taken as the minus 13.6 electron volt. So that minus sign is very much important, and that indicates that the electron is more stable in the atom rather than outside of the atom. Now come to the fourth question. Why Sommerfeld was unable to explain the Heisenberg uncertainty principle? That is very, very important. Just think. Heisenberg uncertainty principle will be possible to explain when we consider the electrons as the wave character also. Otherwise, it is not possible to explain the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Now, Sommerfeld model is restricted to the particle nature of the electron. It is not consider the wave nature of the electron. So that's why it is not possible to explain Heisenberg uncertainty principle from the Sommerfeld model. When we consider the electron has the dual character like wave and particle, then only we can explain, or we will be able to explain the wave nature or the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So that's why Sommerfeld model is unable to explain the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So that's all for today. So take care and goodbye.